Hey, welcome back to Resto Mod 101. Today we're back at the fiberglass body with our fiberglass expert Greg, and we're gonna learn how to drop fiberglass or make fiberglass. What are we doing?
We're gonna be,
what's the term?
We're laying fiberglass.
Laying fiberglass.
Laying fiberglass.
Not dropping.
No dropping. No.
We're laying fiberglass.
Dropping cracks it.
Oh, that makes sense. All right, let's figure out how to lay some fiberglass.
All right, the materials we're going to be using, we'll start off with, we're going to be using the grinder. We've got a blower. We've got the fiberglass we're going to be using. The resin. Scissors to cut the fiberglass. Safety glasses. Mask and gloves. Okay, the areas that we're going to be repairing, I circle with a Sharpie that limits the area in case I have areas that aren't going to be repaired. That keeps me focused on the areas that have to be repaired. I'm going to be doing grinding on the inside, so with the Sharpie, I did a circle on the outside and on the inside. Glassing is only going to be done on the inside since it's such a small area. You're only going to grind about ½ an inch to an inch around the area of the repair. In this particular job, we're going to be grinding on the inside. Safety glasses and a mask. The area is just going to be a little bit larger than where I got circled. When you grind this, you just want to remove all the dirt, any paint. You're just getting fresh fiberglass for the adhesion to work. Okay, small hole, large hole, doesn't really matter, same process. We're going to be cutting fiberglass just about the same size of the area that I ground. On a thickness of fiberglass like this, I'll probably want to double up on my thickness. So I'm going to make it just like this. Lay it on top. Looks so good. I'm just going to cut the corners around it. You want it to fit just like that. It is right there. On a smaller hole here, same type of thing. Okay, we're rounding the fiberglass because the area that we ground is kind of a circle. If there's a big, large area, you'd be doing large sheets, square. I just like to keep it really small, so it'll be a patch. It's kind of like a little Band-Aid on the inside there. Now that we've cut our fiberglass, one point I want to make is the depth of your grinding. All depends on your repair area. The repair on the inside, the grinding won't be so deep. If it's an outside repair, the grinding is going to have to be beveled down. That way the surface is filled up with fiberglass, and then your body work, and it ends up being flat again. So we're going to blow off the area. Get all the debris away, step away. Just get everything out of the way. Put your gloves on, and let's get ready to resin. You're gonna have a 2-inch brush. You pick these up at Home Depot or whatever. I always like to trim them down about halfway. And as we're glassing, we're gonna be tapping out the air bubbles. Resin, the hardener. Only gonna be using a little bit of resin since we only have a small area to do. After adding a few ounces, add about a 2 count of hardener, 1, 2 of squeezing. Make sure you check with your manufacturer, see what they recommend on the amount. If you don't add enough, it's not going to get hard. If you add too much, it can crystallize. I like to stir for about 10 seconds. So we're going to take our individual pieces of fiberglass, distinguish what's going to go where, and start to resin. So I'd like to lay them on paper. Okay, so we're going to be doubling up on our fiberglass. I like to do it one at a time. Get this one saturated. Take the second piece, lay that on top. Get that saturated. Make sure you have no white area left. It all turns kind of a brown. Also put a nice bit of resin on the area that's going to be repaired. Lay it right on top there. Holding it down with the brush, tap out all the air bubbles. And what I also like to do is use a piece of wax paper. So I'll take wax paper, lay it right on top, and it does two things. I'm going to roll out any air bubbles that are existing. In a small area, you don't have so much. On a large area, you will. And it also helps retain the heat and flash times faster. So rolling this out is also going to give it a nice smooth surface. And when it's dry, you peel off that wax paper and you're so much closer to just doing a little bit of grinding and then start your body work. right, now that our resin's hardened, I'm gonna peel off the wax paper, which will leave a nice smooth surface. We're gonna take our grinder, which is about a 40 grit grinding disc. We're gonna grind it down, not totally flat, but we're gonna take the humps out of it, just to have a nice finish on the inside. Put on a mask and some eye protection, because particles do fly. But again, you're not gonna take it too far down, you're just gonna smooth it out. Okay, on this project, I'm gonna sand it down with a little bit of 80 grit sandpaper to get rid of any drips of the resin, smooth it out even better. All right, smooth as the baby's butt. There we go. You see how the resin filled in a little bit of drippage. We're gonna take that down with the grinder. Bodywork's gonna probably take up about 3 times the area of the initial repair. Okay, now we're gonna continue grinding the outside. There's a small hole that I'm gonna put some tape over to keep the bodywork from getting inside, and just to avoid any grinding to mess up the contour of that. Eye protection, mask. Now when you're grinding, you want to bevel it down. So you have your initial damage here, and in this case there's a hole. So what we're doing, we're gonna concave it all the way around like a volcano. So you don't want to go too deep, you just want to make it beveled. Like so. Okay, now that we're done with the grinding, I've used a 36 grit on the grinder. Now I'm going to be switching over to an 80 grit DA sandpaper. DA stands for dual action. The reason is we're going to go with DA is because we're going to rough up the area around the bodywork that we just ground. Bodywork area that we just ground. So also, it's really important to have the area roughed up, otherwise your bodywork is not going to stick to it, it's going to slip right off, it's going to peel right off, just all for adhesion reasons. But for any areas, if you have fresh paint like this, you want to get all the areas dulled out, no shiny spots. All right, we're going to blow off the area so it's clean. You're going to put that on an area that is nice and clean, oil-free. This Bondo takes a cream hardener. What I do is the rule of thumb is just one straight line across the whole thing, and then mix it up and apply. So doing body work can be a little bit tricky. You've got to be patient with it. What you want to do, really not just blob it on there, do a couple strokes, because the area might have like air pockets underneath. So it's always good to press about 3 or 4 times and get those air pockets filled in. And then always leave it just a little bit high. And once you get this mastered, you could probably do it in one smear. Always try to leave it in a fairly smooth finish, like that. I'm gonna walk over here, this last area over here. What you wanna do is when you smear it, get it to smooth surface, keep it a little bit high, come back about 5 minutes, double check it, tap it. You'll be able to tell how tacky it is until it's good and hard. If you start too early and start sanding, it's gonna peel away. So it's always, just give it a good curing time, put the part outside, let it dry that way. It's a little bit faster. Or go have a cup of coffee or a cocktail. All right, now that our bodywork is dry, we're gonna sand it down with some 80 grit sandpaper. I'm gonna take it down with the DA first and then go to my sanding block. We're gonna go from 80, then we're gonna jump to 150, and that'll be our finish. You only wanna take the top down, you don't wanna take it all the way down, you wanna do your finish work with your sanding block. As you're sanding it, you wanna keep it on the same shape as your work is. You're gonna see dark spots appear, which indicate low spots, which is fine. You're not gonna try to take those out, you're just gonna get the whole thing kind of smooth and almost to the level where you want to be. You're going to finish it up with your sanding block. Now that I'm there, you can still see the dark spots. That's fine. This will take 2 smears, not a problem. Important thing is when you have a contour like this, you want to follow the contour a majority of the time that you're sanding. If you start doing sanding this way, you're going to get a big flat spot in it. So it's going to build up your arms a little bit too. Good for you. Quit smoking. You can see some dark spots there. You can check it, feel it. Feels really good. This last area here, we're gonna sand down, going with the contour. Always go with the contour of the body, especially on a large area. If you were sanding this way, obviously you're gonna get flat spots. It's gonna be really obvious after paint. So always go with the shape of the body. So the reason we're doing a second coat is usually you don't get it in the first smear, especially on large areas, obviously. The whole idea of doing body work is bringing it back to the same contour as what it was before. I mean, if you leave it like this and sand it and prime it and paint it, it'll be okay, but on an angle, you're gonna see big divot. So the body work you want right. You know, the whole purpose of being body work is repair. And repair, you don't want to be able to see. Second coat will be a nice thin coat, small, really gentle, don't have to press hard, just like laying fingernail polish on. This one over here, there's no dark spots, no indication of a low area. And it feels good, looks fine. We're gonna finish that with 150 sandpaper, and that's it. We'll give it just about 5-10 minutes of dry time out in the sun, let that dry. All right, now that our second coat is dry, we're gonna sand it down with a little bit of 80. Again, go with the contour. Constantly double check. Make sure everything's smooth. You're taking this down to the same contour as this. You're not looking for any high spots at all. If you have little areas like this, little Bondo, you can peek that off with your nail, or we're gonna be switching over to 150. We'll be taking it down with that. This one's good. We're gonna finish this last one over here. Again, go with the contour. Okay, now that we're done with sanding with the 80, you're gonna notice there's no more dark spots, there's not any more low spots. We're gonna blow it off a little bit. Switch to 150 grit sandpaper. Again, sanding it the same contour. You've got a flat surface, hitting a curved surface. You wanna constantly be sanding the same contour, but not one spot. You're gonna be sanding up and down, working your way up and down the project. Mainly you're gonna be chasing down, getting rid of these dark, deep scratches, which are the 80. So you're gonna eliminate those on the outside first, and then really slowly finish it up like that. So the whole purpose of going from 150 for a last coat, chasing it after the 80, you're getting rid of the scratches from the 80. Obviously 80 is gonna leave deeper marks. We're gonna go to 150 by hand. So your body work's pretty much done. By stepping down to a softer sandpaper, you're not changing the body work, you're changing the depth of the sanding scratches. And then from here, gonna do circles, gonna get it smooth. If you find any areas that are deep, left over from the 80, you're gonna hit those areas. This little curve right here, I feel a little ridge. Gonna roll that. Put your finger inside there. Just gently go up and down. You wanna scuff up that paint there anyway, because the primer is gonna stick better for the painter. Nice and smooth, really good. You don't wanna sit too long with your finger and do one area, otherwise you're gonna get a divot. It's called finger sanding. So just kind of do circles, switch up your sanding pattern. Blow it off. Oh man, that's nice. Depending on the area where you're working, if you have an area that you don't want to get sanding scratches on, I always tape it off, box it in with tape. Maybe go double, triple wide. And as you're sanding it, it keeps it very limited to this area. This particular project, I'm not worried about. They're going to be painting the whole project. So you're going to finish up getting rid of all those 80 scratches. That makes it look really nice. Hit that edge, round it. That's it. That's how you do fiberglass repair.
Hey, if you learned something or enjoyed the episode, hit the like button. It's right below. No, over there. Okay, here's a big red arrow. There you go. And don't forget to subscribe. That way you'll know when our next episodes are going online.